Little decisions.
Hello and welcome. This is Little Decisions Interviews. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have a great interview for you. Let's get started. Deijhon Yearby, aka Cozy, is the owner and operator of Cozybear Market Garden in Nicholson and host of Cozybear Farms podcast. As a solo farmer of a 1/4 acre of land, this is Cozy's second year as a vendor at the Marigold Market. On my first Saturday visiting the market, Cozy was incredibly welcoming and kind. He even offered to be one of my first interviews. Cozy uses his podcast, Cozybear Farms, to help small-scale farmers and gardeners to become more independent by learning some tips and tricks Cozy has acquired in his over 10 years of farming. Cozy is an independent-minded, spirited entrepreneur. Cozybear Market Garden is naturally grown, which means he uses no synthetic conventional chemicals. Our interview at Pittard Park started with us talking shop about farm life as a solo farmer.
Look like a good spot to sit. What you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, I did this with the last time I did an interview, and it was really good.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I don't think the wind catches the microphone too much. Yeah. So how are you?
I'm good. Just sore.
Yeah. Been out, I guess, outside picking.
Farm life.
Yeah. Is it just you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how many acres do you have?
I just got 1/4 of an acre.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, but it's whatever. 1/4 is like a lot. I know people keep saying you should get more than 1/4 of an acre, and it's like, well, I bring enough produce, so why should I do more?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you sell out?
Most times.
Yeah, you seem to do really well, and I'm not trying to be nosy. I'm just
No, it's not being nosy. I don't sell out, but I just try to hit a certain number. When I hit that number, I'm like, yay, we're happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Laura was like, oh, I'm not selling out. And I was all like, you need to pick a number that you will be happy with. And if you hit that number, whatever else is there, it's just there.
Yeah.
And do something else with it. But just hit that number and then be happy.
Our conversation quickly turned to DC versus Marvel, comic books, and all kinds of superheroes. I'll spare you the over 30 minutes of discussion and offer some highlights.
I saw your comic books and I asked one guy, I think it was Carly, the perfume's friend.
Yeah.
He came by and I was like, hey, what kind of comic books you got? He was like, it's all Marvel stuff. And I was like, man, I need DC.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't have any of that.
What's wrong with you? DC is better than Marvel.
I was a Marvel girl, like especially, and it's mostly X-Men.
DC better than Marvel.
Yeah.
I will say in the movie world, y'all got us beat.
Yeah. Now, have you watched any of the TV shows like WandaVision or any?
Yeah, I waited for 3 episodes because people was all like, oh man, this is so confusing. I was all like, well, this person is supposed to be with the X-Men, but they got her on her own, so I'm going to give them a few episodes and then I'll watch it. And then I was like, oh, this is crazy. Winter Soldier and the Falcon. I was just hating because he was a little Twilight boy, and it's like,
That's
hey,
true.
he's a good actor.
And I like Christian Bale so much.
The reasons everybody loved Batman's part is because Ben Affleck directed those parts.
Did you watch the Snyderverse?
Yes, and that's why I was all like, Warner Brothers, you guys messed up.
Yeah, they did, because that was such an amazing movie.
I told somebody that's the greatest superhero movie ever. Ride for Cyborg. I legit thought he was going to be in there for like 10 minutes and then he was just going to be quiet and move around and talk. He was one of the main components of the whole movie, and I was all like, whoa,
good.
John Cena can act. I don't think James Gunn just would have been, like, he can bring emotion, but I just think, like, he's really good at making serious movies funny with a little bit of, like, oh, there's some emotion in this. But Zack Snyder will be like, I'm going to tug on them heartstrings, I'm going to make you cry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you cry. I studied under Pixar. We're gonna make you cry.
Yeah.
Y'all messed up Iron Man's #1 villain. This is all like, we want to see the new Mulan, and I had to pay $40 for them to watch it. To say like, oh, it's a huge accomplishment if you can go to the movie theater by yourself. I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I was like, you know nobody there.
Yeah.
I was like, who's watching you? My girlfriend in high school, I remember our first date, she wanted to go to the movie theater, and I was all like, why? And she was all like, because we can go. And I was like, we're going to be sitting in the dark with a bunch of popcorn and a ton of people around us, and we're not going to talk.
Yeah.
And she was all like, then where you want to go? I was like, let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah. Have an experience that's
let's go do
together.
something fun.
As our conversation got around to the experience of going to the movies, an experience we all miss, I'm sure, Cozy shared an endearing story about friendship and kindness. Let's listen to the story of the date that wasn't a date. Here's the rest of my interview with Marigold Market vendor Cozy of Cozybear Market Garden. Enjoy!
In college, I went on a date that was not a date. A group of our friends were going to go see the Infinity War, but one guy in our group liked this girl, and she couldn't go on Friday with the rest of everybody else. So I told him, look, if you ask her to go on Tuesday, I will come with you, and we could probably finesse her friend to come too, and we can finesse 2 other people from the group to come. And he was all like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So I called the girl that he liked because he was too nervous, and I was like, hey, Addie, you want to go on Tuesday since you can't come on Friday? And she was like, yeah, sure. And then I asked her friend Tanya, I was like, hey, can you come too to help out Blake? And she was like, yeah, sure. And then I asked another couple in our group, and I was like, you guys come? And they was like, yeah, we'll go. I get to the movie theater. Blake didn't come. The couple didn't come. It's just Addie and that one girl.
Yeah.
And I'm in my dirty farm clothes, and they dressed up like it's a date. And I was all like, oh, crap. And then I looked at Tanya, and I was like, where is everybody else? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, we got to go. And she was like, yeah, I know. And so we get up there, and I pay for everybody's ticket, and they're all like, you don't have to pay for us. And I was all like, yeah, I'm going to pay for y'all because this is a weird kiosk thing. So you guys just buy the food. And then when we go in there, they're ordering food, and then they're looking at me to pay. And I was all like, wait, what the? Like, I said, y'all pay for the food.
Yeah.
And so I paid for the food. We watched the whole entire movie. We got out of the movie. Next day in class, I see Blake, and I was like, Blake, what the heck? And he was all like, I wanted to go on Friday to see it with Chase. And I was all like, the girl you like came.
Yeah, and you weren't there.
And you weren't there. And then her friend Tanya came and pulled me to the side, and she was all like, so Addie wanted me to tell you that she really enjoyed the date. And I was all like, the what? And she was all like, Addie said she enjoyed the date. And I was all like, that wasn't a date. And she was like, well, Addie believed it was a date.
Yeah.
And I was all like, did you tell Addie that it wasn't? She was like, I didn't know what the plan was, so I just went with it. And I was like, you knew what the plan was. And so we spent the whole summer trying to get Blake and Addie together. And it took me being mean at Addie because Addie thought I liked her. And I was like, oh, well, I got to be mean now. Yeah. And they ended up getting together, and now they're going to get married.
Oh,
so,
I love that.
Short. And it was just all like, dude, like, we set this whole plan up. I saw this movie twice.
Yeah.
For you. And he was all like, man, I appreciate it, but I just wanted to see it with my boy Chase. And I was all like,
but your girl, yeah, and now he's marrying her. I love that.
That was that fun. That whole week was just funny. The date that was not a date to the we're trying to get free drinks.
That was all the same.
That was the same week.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And in the movie theater when we saw the movie,
same
movie. We're all talking. We're in the front row, so we don't even pay attention to everybody in the back. And we're just saying inappropriate stuff. We're making all the weird jokes, and we're just saying this outlandish stuff. And so, yeah, all that happened in 1 week. And then the next Monday, when our professor asked us how the week went, and I retold him, he was just all like, somebody needs to follow you with a camera, Deijhon.
Yeah.
And just document all this.
I know.
He was like, I don't want to believe you, but I believe you, because this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was all like, all Chase had to say was Spider-Man. But Chase is getting married now. Well, no, he is married. He got married. Blake is getting married in 3 months when they hope everything goes down.
Yeah.
And a couple in our group got married. And the two other girls are in, like, dedicated relationships. And they're all looking at me like, so, Deijhon, when you're next? And I was like, when I turn 40.
Yeah, which is how long?
20 years from now.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I
Yeah.
was like, we ain't doing this.
Do you date often?
Nope.
Yeah.
If you can't match my energy, I'm not going to date you.
Yeah, you seem like someone who's very particular, and I'm not saying that in a judgmental way at all.
I'm not picky or nothing. It's just like I know I'm gonna be busy when I'm busy, and most times people get mad because they're like, "You never spend time with people." And it's like y'all need to cherish the times that I can spend with you guys because I am busy.
Yeah, farming takes up what, most of your time?
That and the podcast, and then they're all
Yeah.
like, "Well, you're supposed to be enjoying your 20s," and I was like, "I will enjoy my 40s when I can sit back and say, hey, I don't have to do that much stuff." Well, you need to go ahead, like they want me to work for like Lowe's or something so I can go ahead and move out of my parents' house, and I was like, if my mom says I can stay there until I can like build myself up on my thing, then I'm gonna stay there.
Yeah.
Because I remember in college they used to. Every kid that lived with their parents, they used to give them shit. And I remember one day I was all like, okay, let's see your bills. You have to pay rent, you have to pay your phone bill, you have to pay your TV bill, you have to pay this, you have to pay your food. Everybody who lives with their parents, let me say, you guys just got to pay for your streaming stuff, right? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, you probably just got to pay for your own clothes, right? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, and you probably just got to buy your own food, right? And they were like, yeah. And I was all like,
yeah, that's a huge difference in bills.
Yeah,
you're talking thousands of dollars.
Because my mom will show me the mortgages and be like, this is how much I have to pay for this house and like all of the bills that go into it. And I'm like, if you ain't ready for it, don't do it yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just got to take into account that the world has changed and we're not going to be 25 looking at a three-bedroom house.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It's just not that anymore.
No, it's not. Well, and that's why I think what you're doing is actually pretty smart because you're making financial decisions based on a market that's like changing so much we don't know what it's going to be.
Now, there is a lot of mental stress with that too. So my mom battles with depression and anxiety, and I do too. And she has to come first because that's just how it is.
Yeah,
and so
that's your mom.
It's very, very tough. And I do wish sometimes like I need to move out, but then I have to look back and like you can't.
What do you want to do?
Have my farm and do the podcast.
Yeah. Now, how big do you want your farm to be? You want to keep it the size?
I want to keep it that size, but then I know one day, like when I turn 35, I'm gonna be looking for land to just redo what I have there.
Yeah, so just make it bigger.
Yeah, the guy that I'm leasing my land from now, he's very cool. He's like, just grow his vegetables. You can farm on our land. And I was all like, bet, I'm going to keep this deal as long as possible. And he's all like, yeah, you can stay out here as long as you want, as long as you're growing vegetables for us, it's fine. And so I was like, probably got another 10 years of hanging out there as long as he lets me while I try to build up the podcast and get that with money coming in, and then I'll like just go from there and just do whatever. But I was like, I don't want to work for a Fortune 500 company and be sad.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So you and I are in the same position, except you're doing it in your 20s and I'm doing it at almost 40.
Yeah, I noticed
and that's what you're trying to avoid, which is genius.
When I was doing the Younger and Farm program at the Athens Land Trust, they brought in a lot of business people. And I remember me and Sherry's son, we had this mushroom log business. And I remember a lot of people who were like in their 40s were like, wow, you guys are starting a business now. We haven't started our own until we were in our 40s. And some just hit me like, why didn't you do it in your 20s when you had all the liberty and the free time to do it?
Yeah, and the energy.
Yeah.
It's harder now for me.
And so I was just all like, and Sherry's son thought of this too, like he wants to be a teacher. So he was all like, I'm going to go straight into teaching, like, just go right out. I know this is what I want to do. I don't want to have my own business. I want to be a teacher. And so he went straight into it. And then I was all like, well, I don't want to work for anybody. Cause I hate working for people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to work with anybody. I just rather be by myself. So I'm going to do this and just work on this. But yeah, you got a lot of people my age that are like, no, you need to have fun. You need to go party. You need to go this. And it's like, I'll be there. I don't like clubs.
It's not going anywhere. And yeah.
I have a lot of content creator friends.
I hate TikTok. I just got on it, and I'm not afraid to say that I hate it.
Sherry.
Hi. How are you?
Okay.
You doing your walks?
Oh, no, I did my workout already.
She did her workout. Yeah, she does her workout at 9. Yeah, I am. But we were doing good. We're almost done. Yeah.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah, feel free. Is that okay with you, sir?
Yeah.
I figured. What were we talking about?
I forgot Sherry. And this is like Sherry has popped in on a bunch of my podcasts.
We were talking about Sherry too, which is funny.
Yeah.
I just love y'all so much.
Sherry has popped into so many of my podcasts.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the podcast. So how is it going?
That's going pretty good so far. Just talking about agriculture and farming and helping people try to figure out how to manage their own gardens and stuff. So that's been fun.
Yeah.
And it's a lot simpler. So I did have one called Feeling Cozy. And that was with a co-host, but every co-host kept bailing on me. And so I was all like, you know what? I'm just going to do one by myself and do one of something that I love and that I'm not expert in. And so I chose farming.
Yeah.
And it's called Cozybear Farms podcast. So I love that one. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do it that way. You can't bring on more people if you already have this plan and set for you to just make money.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm already making a profit back by just being by myself. If I bring in somebody else, then it's like, okay, we're going back into the red. And it's like, I don't want to go back into the red. I like staying in the black.
Yeah.
So, and I like just being able to go out there and say, this is how I'm going to do it. I don't want no pushback. This is just how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends will be like, hey, man, what if we take your produce up the coast and go to multiple farmers markets up the coast? And I was like, that's not how the farm market world works.
Yeah.
And then they'll get upset saying, well, then how are we supposed to do this? And then when I tell them, they'll be like, well, we should do it this way. And it's like, but that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Like, you got to hear this is how that stuff works.
Yeah.
Like, Sherry, no, you can't just pop in at like 5 different farmers markets.
Yeah. Yeah, you build almost like a following, right? I mean...
Well, it's not even that. Like, so say I was to go to Marigold, and then I was to go to West Broad, and then I would go to Athens Farmers Market. I just can't call up West Broad and say, hey, I'm bringing produce. West Broad is going to be like, well, we need to know who you are, and there's a process that goes into it. Athens Farm Market is going to be like, we need to know who you are. It's not like I'm an artisan vendor where I could be like, I make crochet puppets. And
Yeah.
they'll be like, okay, we'll look at your Instagram. You can come in this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, and also, you got to think about if you're going to be at multiple markets, then and you're going to have somebody rep you there, you're still not going to do as well as your home market.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me.
Because people who are coming to the markets, there's things that they're looking for, and one of the things that they're looking for is that relationship with their producer.
Yeah.
And so and case in point, at our co-op table, I mean, we had that as a service, but the producers that are there are not making near as much as producers who have their own booths.
Who are here? Yeah, like I'm thinking of Jean.
Well, and she's doing good.
Yeah, she's doing really good. Yeah.
But now
She
she
was
has her
hopping
own
with
booth.
tomatoes, right?
Yeah, because she did the co-op table, and then I kept telling the co-op table, like, y'all need your own table. I was like, y'all ain't going to do as good if you don't have your own table. And then they did their own table, and they're doing great now. So it's like, y'all need your own table. But I was trying to explain to my friends, like, the farming world is so much different than what everybody thinks it is, because even if I could go to multiple farmers markets, I have to have certain type of certifications just to go into certain farmers markets. Because you need to prove that your food is grown naturally.
Yeah.
Or if you go to a farmers market, you might go to one where they're buying the produce from somebody in South Georgia and bringing it up here. And it's like, well, I can't sell my stuff at the same price because they bought a crate of tomatoes for 50 cents. And I spent maybe $50 growing my tomatoes, and I have to sell them at this price to make that money back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you just can't hop everywhere. You got to pick the right market for you. Or even like they was like, okay, man, let's do preserves and canning. And it's all like, if I'm have my hands full with just the farmer's market, why would I add on more stuff? Because then I have to pay for canning stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have to build that up. We're still
and you
building
have to
this.
do it.
Yeah, and it's like, and I can't rely on you to be full into this because I think everybody had a point in their life where this is all like, either I can go this way and make my own money, or I can go this way and work for somebody that's going to pay me money.
Yep.
And he already made that choice of, I'm not calling one person, I'm just saying he.
Yeah.
They made that choice of, I'm going to go on this side and have work for somebody to pay me money. But the people that take that side of, I want to make my own money, they got the full understanding of, it might be 3 years where I start seeing any profit.
Yeah.
I'm going to have days where I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a lot stressful of a road, But after those 3 years, when you hit your 5th year, you're going to be like, oh, we're picking up our stride. And then those people that are working for somebody, they're going to be like, dang, I should have did that too. And it's like, I just feel like everybody had a moment in their life when they first started off, I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started working for somebody, I only had one job, and it was a farming job. And when I did that one job, it was with the Athens Land Trust. I was like, I don't want to work for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I learned right in there, like, I don't want to work for anybody. Everybody was cool, but it was like, I don't want to work for somebody. I would rather do this on my own, because I had my own ideas of how I wanted to do stuff, and then I would tell the manager, and it was like, well, we could, but we got to stick to this game plan. And it's like, well, why don't we try this? And I was like, we got to stick to this game plan. And it's like, I don't want to be held back. I want do my own thing.
Yeah.
So I just made that choice of, I'm going to go this way.
Yeah.
I could have stayed there and been on this side, but it's like, no, I'm going to try going the harder route.
Yeah.
So, and to see how that turns out.
Yeah, because it may be harder in the beginning, but I feel like overall, for me, I have never been happier than the work I'm doing now. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, look, my work today was coming to the park to interview you on a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Like, how wonderful is that?
And then there's one guy who I look to, like, I know a lot of people, there's a joke saying that one person has a lot of babies out here, and it's because people copy that one person. And it's not that they're copying them, they just admire what they're doing, and they're trying to, like, build off of that game plan, but make it their own way. There's a comedian, his name's Brendan Schaub. And when I started listening to the podcast, he was one of the first ones I started listening to with Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. And when I heard his story of, he was a student athlete, made it to college, tried to make it to the NFL, didn't turn out. So then he became a UFC fighter, started realizing I'm not fully into UFC fighting. So he pursued something else, and it was comedy. And now he's like a big comedian. He has a bunch of podcasts. He seems really happy. He's making more money than he did doing UFC and football. And he was all like, I'm just a lot happier doing this. And whenever somebody asked him, like, would you do this job? He was like, I'm too happy with my life to do anything else. Mm-hmm. And so I just look at it like, okay, I was a student athlete. I got a bunch of offers to go play for college. I blew my knee out. All those offers went away. I went to school thinking I was going to work for a nursery, and then I had that job with the land trust, and then I was all like, I don't want to work for somebody. And so I ended up changing my whole major, went to a whole nother college just to learn how to farm, just so I could say, okay, I'm going to have my own farm. Like, I'm not going to work for a nursery. I'm going to have my own farm. Yeah. Now, I still could do a nursery, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I didn't model myself after him, but it's like, okay, he went on this crazy journey, and I understand the stuff that he's talking about, and it's kind of like, he will say, like, that sports world gave him the mentality to attack the new world that he's in, and I was like, that sports world did give me the mentality of, like, I'm constantly game planning how to do my farm. I'm constantly game planning how to do the farmer's market to make the table look good. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm messaging Laura, Wolf's on Flower, shout out to her. I message her 3 times a day saying, this is what I'm going to do for the winter. This is what I'm going to do for the market. This is what I'm going to do for my online store. And she's like, why are your wheels always turning? I was like, they got to. We got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And it's just all like that sports world when I play football, when you're down and you have this 300-pound defensive lineman in front of you, and you got this one play in your head, like, okay, we're going to do this one play. Next you know, you hear the quarterback say, scratch that, and it's like, scratch what?
Yeah.
Like, what? And then they're like, new play, and it's all like, okay, now I got to change my whole stance. Now I got to change the way I'm going to go at this guy. Now I got to figure out, I got to push this guy from the right to the left. How I'm going to do this? Oh, I need to change my feet. But I also can't have my hand come off the ground because the referees will say, hey, no play. You can take your hands off the ground. So it's like, okay, we got to do all this. And so now with farming, now that I have like 3 months in advance to figure out what to do next, it's like, okay, I can just figure out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And even at the
it's almost like you just have a bunch of plays.
Yeah, even at the farmer's market, when I'm like setting up the booth, if something don't look right, I can just switch it and be like, okay, we're going to do this instead.
Yeah.
Or like if something's not selling the way I like it to sell, I could be like, okay, that's not working, scratch this play, let's do this play.
Yeah.
So,
well, I noticed you take the entire time to set up, but you're not in a rush.
No, I come early because I want to look at everything.
Yeah.
And as I was telling like a couple of the other like the artisan vendors and the arts and crafts people, it's like you guys can show up whatever because you know how you want your stuff set up. That's like your mind frame. And I was like, farmers, like, you need to set up early because you need to see your booth way before everybody else sees their booth. Mm-hmm. We're not used to that. Mm-hmm. Artists, like the guy, what's Kevin's business?
Monster Shack.
Monster Shack?
Yep.
He pours like watercolor onto a sheet of paper and draws a monster out of it.
Yep.
And I'm like, how do you get your mind there? And he was all like, I don't know. It's just something where I can just envision the monster there. And I was all like, that's the advantage these artsy people have over the farmers because they know what their stuff's going to look like.
Yeah.
Like before they even...
It's in our head.
Yeah, so with me, it's like, I need to see this whole entire booth. Like, I envision what I see in my head, but it's like when you get there, it's not going to come out the way that I envision it. Because, like, you don't know what produce is going to come. You don't know if the wind blowing. You don't know if the sun's going to hit right. The artist people, it's kind of like, well, if I know this is what it's going to look like in my head, it's going to look like this in the paper. Because I'm going to draw it that way.
Yeah.
But there's all these different factors for a farmer to be like, are the eggplants going to go on the left side of the bin or on the right side of the bin? Because I don't know how they're going to look when people show up. So I need to map it all out and then be like, okay, the eggplants need to go on the left.
Yeah, because people want to see, like, I feel like when they come to a farmer's market, they expect a certain presentation from any booth.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I would tell all the farmers, like, dude, y'all need to show up early because you need to see that booth way before everybody else sees that booth. And if you're happy with the booth, be happy with it. But if you see that your customers are not happy with it, then next week you're like, okay, I took all these notes. They didn't like this. They didn't like that.
That's what I've been doing. That's why I've been like changing little things at a time because like I try to have the control parts of mine. You know, like okay, I'm going to keep this and this the same and change this and this. Oh, that worked. That didn't. You know, because if I change too much, I don't know what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
So, but last week I moved, you know, to the very end, and that was perfect for me.
Yeah, because people can walk in and straight see you.
Yeah, they're right there. Well, and I have those reusable bags. I have $2 reusable bags, which have inside a Little Decisions podcast dry erase board and marker. And yeah, I'll give you one.
Sweet.
But yeah, and you know, and it has my business card and stickers in there, you know. So it's all for $2.
Yeah, you gave me the little sticker thing, and I was all like, she gave me the most boyish stickers ever.
I did. Do you want different stickers?
No, I
have different stickers.
You said boring?
No, boyish.
I did give you boyish stickers.
I looked at Laura and I was all like,
boy.
I looked at Laura and I was like, how much toxic masculinity am I portraying right now?
Did I give you the basketball ones?
No, you gave me like a Mario bullet thing.
Bullet one, yeah.
And then you gave me a surfboard. And I was like,
at least I didn't give you this one. This one's like a guy tattoo.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I was like, how much masculinity is coming off of me?
What about that one? That one's cool.
I'll take that one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Oh, yeah, I got a camera. I'll take this one.
Yeah, okay, good. See, I enjoy picking them out, so I gave you some, right? Because I gave you some for the kids, too.
I just say that because it's my best friend in the world. When I went to meet his roommates, his roommates were like kind of skittish to talk to me. And then I said something so weird, and they just busted out laughing. And I was like, what's wrong with y'all? And it was all like, dude, you came up in here with all this masculinity and stuff, and then you're over here talking about Barbie dolls. And I was like, yeah, man, we talk about anything. And it was all like, yeah, we just judge you. And I was like, yeah, everybody does.
Yeah. Well, because you do look like an athlete.
But it's like I'm just used to it.
Yeah, so, you are, yeah. Well, and you handle it well.
And that's why it's fun when people meet me at the farmer's market. Because a lot of like Troublesome Creek, shout out to them, they thought I was going to be like some stern, over professional dude. And they're like, man, your booth is all professional. And I was all like, man, my booth is a crazy house right now. I have no idea what's going on. And they was all like, what? And I was all like, don't be getting this twisted up on my acting face. I'm freaking out. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where are the people at? Remember, everybody thought Katrina was my intern?
I remember that.
Yeah, everybody thought the market intern was my intern because I tricked her into working my booth so I could go get food. And then when I came back, she actually did pay attention to everything I said. And I was all like, oh, you can stay right there then. And I'm just going to sit in my chair for the whole market. And she sold out my whole booth.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And then next week, everybody was all like, so who's that intern of yours? Where can I get an intern? I was like, that ain't my intern.
Well, something that I just thought of, it's when you talk about paying attention. I think paying attention is probably the most important thing you can develop in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're listening, then you can, like if you're truly listening, and it's like with your eyes and with your ears, then you're going to be able to do whatever it is. Follow through with whatever instructions or,
yeah,
you know.
All right, then, Gandhi.
Yeah, I know, right? I love when Sharon comes in. Oh, Sharon and I have already talked about having her co-host with me.
Oh, look at you.
It just comes from having so many kids. I just remember teaching them attentiveness is the number one thing you gotta learn.
Yeah, and you really do.
You watch everything. So, like, again, game planning, like, at the beginning of the market, everybody was all like, oh, not a lot of people are coming, not a lot of this. And then I was the first one to say, like, everybody's on vacation.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have the dopest playground in the world, and there's no kids on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, all these people are on vacation because they were stuck in their house for like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And about time when the parents had to come home with the kids, the market is like packed now. And it's like, yeah, we had to spend 3 months. And then I remember some vendors, I'm not going to call nobody out, was talking about like, we're not making that much. And then I was all like, well, then you might want to game plan and figure it out before people like bust up and start being like, hey, we like, what's going on here? What's that? I don't really like this. So I started noticing for my booth example, like I would have people weigh out their stuff.
Yeah.
And then I noticed people were getting skittish about like weighing stuff out because if it didn't hit $3, they would be like, well, just put all this back. I'll just take this instead. And so I was like, if I'm going to lose money from stuff being weighed out, I'd rather just go ahead, package everything, they pick it up and go.
Yeah.
And so
that's smart.
I lose a little bit of money because I would make way more money weighing it out. But it's like when I did the whole everybody just does it in a package, my sales increased a lot. I'm not going to say about how much. Y'all need to know how much money I make.
No.
But it increased a lot. And I was all like, I told Sherry, this is the most I made at this market.
Yeah.
And it was the first week I switched up this whole thing. And then the next week, I made more, and I was all like, so we're sticking with this.
Yeah.
I was like, it took 3 months to figure this out, but we're sticking with this.
That's exactly where I'm at now. Yeah, like it took me months to kind of figure out like where I need to be, how I need to engage with people. Because like mine is different. You know, I'm talking about the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the way I have to engage with them is like, hey, I have this stuff because I'm selling it to fund a podcast. I'm actually here to talk about a podcast. You know, the selling of stuff for me is secondary. But you better believe I have kid stuff over there because I noticed, I was like, no one has kid stuff and there are always kids at this market. Yeah. I'm going to have kid stuff.
If you have kid stuff, it's going to bring, and especially if you're the first one that they see. Mm-hmm. So I remember a lot of people, like a lot of vendors were like, they wanted to come like congest the area that I was in because it seemed like a lot of people were there. Mm-hmm. But I was all like, if you congest this one entire area, we're all going to get crowded and we're all going to be on top of each other. We need to spread out. And everybody was just trying to get to that one section because it was closest to one parking lot.
Yeah.
But I was all like, there's a whole nother parking lot up there. And if you guys notice, everybody walks in from there.
They do.
I was like,
I was surprised that spot was open.
Yeah, I was like, it seems like everybody's down there because all the food is down there and there's a ton of cars in that parking lot. But all the people are coming up from here. Mm-hmm. Those people that parked there were parked there before the market even started because they're off doing their morning walks. So don't get twisted in thinking like, I need to be on this end. Like, no, you need to be on the other end. And that comes from just paying attention to what's going on and looking around and being like, this is what works and this is what not works. And now that the market is getting bigger, I was talking to Sherry and I was all like, okay, now there's going to be another hub. Like, I call them hubs. There's like hubs throughout the whole market. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, now we're going to start building another hub because the market is getting bigger.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I just feel like you just need to pay attention and stuff. That's your podcast.
Yeah. No, we're good.
Phil, I'm going to ask you questions now.
Okay.
How are you feeling about your podcast?
I really think it's starting to build a following. It's a very small following, but it's starting to build it. Like, because I noticed from the market, if I have really quality conversations, I'll get 3 or 4 new subscriptions that week, you know? Yeah. And I really think that's people from the market.
Probably. I would not. So because people finna get podcast background.
Yeah.
Because Apple, Spotify, and all these other places are trying to monetize their sites and stuff now.
Yeah.
When I look at the numbers for my podcast, I never pay attention to them now.
Yeah.
It's like, and unless I get like real people telling me at the market or real people messaging me saying like they listen, those are the only ones I pay attention to.
Yeah.
Because before, newsflash to the people that want to do a podcast, before, if you had an Apple podcast, if you subscribe to the podcast, Apple will count that as a download.
Yeah.
And now, even Spotify, if you subscribe to it, it will count as a download.
Yeah.
And your hosting site, if you subscribe to it, they count it as a download, even though it would not automatically download to their phones.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
So when you hear people say, "Oh, I have 10,000 downloads, I have 10,000 this, I have that many that," half of the time people were paying for people to download. So that's a little like you don't want that.
Yep.
Also, if you had 10,000 people just hit subscribe and then they completely just don't even listen to it, you're still getting a download. But now Apple is like, you have to physically download the podcast for it to count as a download. And when that came out, all these podcasters' algorithms just went haywire.
Yeah.
So all their sponsors were like, you had 5,000 downloads. Now you only have 5 downloads.
Yeah.
Because those 5,000 people, majority of them probably was not listening.
Yeah.
Or another key factor is too, a lot of them were streaming it. And those hosting sites don't count streams.
Yeah.
So when I called my hosting site, I was like, hey, Apple is saying they're not counting these downloads anymore. Then my numbers went kind of wonky for a second. And I was all like, well, I know people listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
Because when I go to Spotify and I see the stream thing matches to the downloads. So I'm like, okay, why is it all wonky now? Why is it saying only? I went from like 30 downloads to 3 downloads, but then Spotify was like, no, you have 50 streams, and it's kind of like, what's going on? It was like early in the beginning when I was starting the podcast. Like that happened the second week my podcast was going.
Oh God.
And I was all like, what is going on here? And so I called them, and they was all like, yeah, Apple is doing that. And I was like, well, then what are you going to do for streams? Because if I do call up sponsors or whatever, they're going to be wanting to know how many like downloads you get or whatever. And they was all like, well, we're not counting the streams. And I was like, why are you not counting the streams? And they just said their algorithm doesn't do that yet. And I was like, well, when would that happen? And they was like, when it gets to a problem that they have to. And I was all like, okay, so podcasting has now changed again.
Yep.
Because if you listen to your podcasters, now they're doing like 20 ad reads in one whole episode. And it's kind of like, well, the reason they're doing that now because the ad people are now saying, we're not going to pay you for the downloads. We're going to pay you for how many people sign up for our subscription or how many affiliate buys we get.
Yeah, so that's why they give you like that specific web address they want
they want to give you their web address, and then they say use promo code this because that's why they need it. And that's why they went from like doing 2 sponsor reads to like doing 20 because they need to make up for all the money that they lost on that. But my plan is I don't want to just get a bunch of sponsors just to have sponsors on there. I told somebody the max I'll do is 2, and that's for the main episode. And if it's a sponsor, it's something that people in the farm world will need.
Yeah.
So right now the sponsors are Amy Fleury with Recipe for Press, talking about how to build your story and build your brand.
Nice.
And she's selling her book, Recipe for Press, how to write your story. I read the whole entire book, and that's how I'm able to tell my story a whole lot easier.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by it. I might need to read that.
So it's a great book. Use promo code Cozy. I don't get no money from the promo code, though.
Yeah.
But the second one is Hearts on Herbs, and she's a tincture herbal medicine person. I can't really describe it that well, but she was my very first farm mentor. So she taught me how to farm first, and then her husband picked me up and taught me everything that I know about farming.
Yeah.
But she was my farm mentor, and when I see how she grows everything naturally, there's no like pesticides. She's like old school with it. Like she will hire me to come out there and break soil for her because she's all like, I don't want to use a tiller, and it's like, we have tillers, and she's like, I don't want to use a tiller, so I have to go out there with a shovel.
Oh my God.
And so when I see her products and all the attention and care, and like I started taking her stuff, like I had mental problems because playing football, the linemen, people don't realize that the linemen, since they constantly hit their heads together, when we get done, it might be a year or 2 later, but you'll start noticing like I can't remember stuff that well.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to communicate stuff. I'm stuttering a lot. And so I told her that, and she was all like, you need this stuff called Brain Boost, and you need this stuff called Stay Well to help you calm yourself down. I battle with anxiety, and she was like, this Brain Boost to help with your brain activity. Started taking it, and I was all like, I'm remembering stuff a little bit better. and like I'm not as stressed as more.
That's awesome.
And I was all like, what's all up in this? And she told me everything that was in it. And I was all like, why are more people not doing this? And she was all like, well, hopefully we build it up and make more people aware. I was like, man, F some aspirins, dude. Just give me this.
I know. It works so much better.
And so she's one of the sponsors. Mm-hmm. And then my big sister, Mary, she's not my actual sister. I have to call my big sister, Mary. She helped me a lot with my weight loss and stuff because I used to be 300 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm 213.
Yeah.
So I used to be 300 pounds. She helped me with my weight loss journey. And she started a business called Paper Boutique where they make custom handwritten invitations for stuff.
Oh, I love that.
And I was all like, okay. And she was like, what would this have to do with farmers? Why you want me to be a sponsor? And I was all like, I need to hand out flyers. I need to hand out business cards. If you can, so she made my stuff. If you can make me some business cards or some come to the Marigold Market at this time, yeah, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
So she does a bunch of different stuff, but she was just all like, why would farmers need this? And I was like, this is why farmers need this.
Yeah.
And she makes really cool designs. So those are the 3 sponsors, but it's like I'm not finna bring on Blue Chew because like I'm not talking about Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Or I'm not finna talk about Manscaped or something. Or like those basic ones. It's like I want sponsors that are going to help farmers or gardeners and whatever they're doing. Mainly farmers. I want to bring in sponsors that's going to help the farmers. The Hearts on Earth one, that just help everybody.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring on sponsors that match whatever I'm doing and that also will benefit everybody else.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
That's my idea with it. I don't want to bring on like, pizza parlor, use promo code this, or Liquid Death, use this promo code. It's like, I don't want to do all that because it's like, one, Liquid Death is cool, but it's like, you're not finna be drinking Liquid Death on the farm all day.
Yeah.
Like, what is this benefiting me?
Yeah.
I'll buy this book, use promo code Cozy, get 20% off, and read this whole book and figure out how to tell my story so that when I'm at the farmer's market, I don't look like a crazy person.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I have admired the way you tell your story. That's why I'll just listen when you're pitching or when you're talking to people because it's so natural. I mean, because you enjoy talking to people anyway.
Yeah.
So
sometimes.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
Yeah, there's some days where it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Oh, right before the market, when people come talk to me, I'll be like, don't come talk to me right before the market.
Yeah, you get like your game face on.
I was like, that's the worst time to come talk to me.
It is hilarious.
Don't do it right before the market.
Yeah, I have noticed that,
I was like, not right before. When the market starts, come talk to me. Or after the market comes, it was like right before. No, don't. I feel so bad. There was one vendor, he was trying to compliment me on my tomatoes, and I was all like, thank you, and I would not talk to him. Yeah. And then when he left, and when the market started, I looked at Laura, and I was all like, hey, I was kind of a dick, wasn't I? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay, let me go. Yeah. So Laura's used to it. She's my booth mate. Yeah. She's used to it. She knows when he's in the beginning, do not talk to him. Yeah. And then when he's halfway done and he figured out what he wants, then you can talk to him. Yeah. But it's like, she knows, like, right at the beginning, do not talk to him.
Yes. Well, that makes sense. What's funny is I love that you say booth mate because Tracy, she's my booth mate. Like she's like my mentor.
Everybody has booth mates.
Well, if you're smart, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always that one person who's like, hey, so Kevin Monster Shack, he's my booth mate. It's like,
he's awesome. I'm interviewing him next week.
If we're at the market, it's either Laura or Kevin right next to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, those are my booth mates. Those are people I talk to. Mm-hmm. Those are people that are going to keep me entertained when they start getting slow. Mm-hmm. Don't want a bad booth mate.
No, you don't.
There was one weekend where I yelled at Jenny, Jenny Blooms, shouting out all these vendors. Yeah. She was playing some weird music.
I remember that.
And I just was not in the mood to just hear this music. And I just yelled at her. I was like, Jenny, we're not in a funeral. Why are you playing this music? And then she was all like, what? And I was all like, change it to something else. And she was like, well, how about you ask nice? And I was like, and then I just started getting an attitude. And I was all like, can you please change that awful music to some good music? And she was all like, well, one way not to say change music is calling it awful. I was like, well, can you change your not good music to some good music? And she was getting pissed, and I was getting heated because I was all like, I'm tired. Yeah. And this music. And
it was pretty.
The next weekend, I went and apologized to her because like the last thing she said was, my own kids don't even talk to me like this. And I was like, I ain't your child. And I was all like, yeah, I need to apologize to Jenny. So the next weekend I went and apologized to her. I told her I was so sorry. I told her I was just having a bad day, and that music for some reason was just not working.
Yeah.
And so she told me, like, she never pays attention to the music that's playing.
Yeah.
And so she was like, if somebody does come up to her and tell her, can you please change it, she will.
Yeah.
She was just all like, that just took her so much for a loop, because she was just all like, what is going on?
Well, and you're normally such a polite person, so I'm sure you acting that way.
I'm not that polite. I tell people to shut up all the time.
You do.
Yeah.
But you say it in a funny way. So I don't, I mean, I don't ever get offended by you.
I try, if I'm being mean, I try my best to be like, I'm not trying to be mean on purpose. It's like, it's just, hey, we're going to be animated.
Yeah.
Everybody else was laughing when I was talking to Jenny that way. And I was like, I'm glad you guys think this is funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Change that music.
Yeah.
Like, I cut one person's music off because they were playing jazz music. And I was all like, you're making my customers not want to come.
Yeah.
And they was all like, but it's jazz music, and I just hit it. I just clicked it off, and I was like,
I don't play anything. Well, I can't, because if I'm recording, I can't play.
Yeah, if you're doing a podcast on the go, on the spot, you can't have music playing like that. That's why Georgia's weird. Everybody hates Georgia, but it's like, y'all know y'all want to be in Georgia.
Yeah,
I was
good.
like, with the whole COVID thing and everything, I know people are like back and forth with Florida, Georgia, and Texas and whatever, but it's like, in my mind, I tell everybody this, like, I respect everybody's viewpoint on it. I was like, everybody is right, but also everybody is wrong.
Yep.
This is the rarest moment where everybody can be right at the same time, but be wrong at the same time.
Yep.
Because when people say, like, oh, we need to open the schools up because we all need to go back to work and yada, 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 and it's like, yeah, you're right, but then when you hear, like, teachers say, well, we're putting our lives at risk.
Yeah, we're dying.
Because we're trying to watch your kids so that you can go to work.
And your kids aren't vaccinated.
And it's like, you're right. But then you're also wrong of, those people need to go to work so that their kids have a home to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on the other side, it's like, you guys are wrong because those teachers have families they want to get back to too.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is the rarest moment where everybody's wrong and everybody's right.
Isn't Chandler Park isn't that named after a teacher? I know the person died of COVID, but
I have no idea.
I feel like they were, I'm going to do more research on it, but I feel like they were a teacher.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. But yeah,
I'll find out,
This is the rarest moment ever. And I was like, I love to argue. But this is the rarest moment ever where whenever somebody tells me something, I'm like, you're right. But then
you're also wrong.
You're also wrong. You got to look at it just at this point of view. Like with the vendors, somebody was all like, how dare you guys have a farmer's market in the middle of a pandemic? I was like, you're right. But also, these are a lot of these people's livelihoods, and they're trying to grow a business.
Yeah, we have to eat.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I'm wrong for being at the farmer's market, and if I do have something that's spreading it, I'm wrong for that.
Yeah.
I don't. I've been tested. I've been vaccinated.
Yeah.
But it's like...
I've been vaccinated too, so yeah.
So, it's like, yeah, it's wrong that we're here and we're doing this, but also... You're wrong for telling people they can't be their own business person and try to grow their business, especially when they shut down the world for a year and a half and nobody had income coming in.
Yeah, well that, and like, we're outside, like I feel like we're trying, considering.
So we're trying to be safe and we're trying to be
have
considerate.
masks as options.
Yeah, we're trying to be all of that, and it's like, everybody's right, everybody's wrong, and everybody wants to look at the people and say the people are wrong, but then it's like, well, you got to look at the higher ups too and be like, you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
Because somebody was like, because I remember at the beginning, I was all like, they need to do a mortgage freeze everybody's mortgage, tell everybody stay at home, tell everybody you don't have to pay your light, your water, or your mortgage for this whole entire time, and give everybody at least $200 a week for food, or if you want to spend on something else, do that. And then people were trying to hit me with the whole, you can't do that, you need to do this. And I was like, we just spent $2.2 trillion. I don't want to hear whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, if they really want to do it, they can do it.
They can find it.
Yeah. Well, they don't even have to find it. They can just snap their fingers and say, we're not going to tax anybody. We're not going to ask for any money.
Yeah.
So it's like,
they have the power to do that.
Yeah, the world will just stop.
Yeah.
And everybody will stop with it. But if you want people to sit at home, if you want people to sit at home, you need to make sure that they can sit at home comfortably.
Yes. Well, and that is one issue where I realized that there weren't enough social supports in our country. because the fact that so many people were, I mean, there were people starving, you know, and I'm glad that, like, our school made every effort to get food to families because they know that those families count on those meals.
The homeless population went up. And a lot of people, it's weird, too, because a lot of people just completely forget that a lot of people lost their homes, a lot of people lost their business, and now that the stuff is starting to open back up, they completely forgot. And I'm like, them people are still homeless.
Yeah, them people, or the people that died from COVID. We just hit, what, 1 million people recently?
So it's like a lot of it came from misinformation through the media. So just make this clear, I'm not right wing, I'm not left wing, I'm on the middle of the back of the bird. I just want to live and be happy.
Yeah.
But a lot of it came from miscommunication from the media, and not just CNN. People go to these private news sites, and everybody gets a story, they run with it. Somebody sent me something saying Biden's going to do another nationwide lockdown on the 11th, and I was all like, where did you hear that from? And it was like, this person found it in documents at the global office, and so I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then they're like, CNN saying that, oh, this is happening. I was all like, they get a story, and they run with it. And then 3 days later, it's a whole nother story. I was like, they're not finna lock the country down again. I was like, let's be realistic. If you lock the country down, you see in Australia, they have dudes swinging flaming sticks in the air. Yeah. And it's like, that's going to be 10 times worse in America. We're not going to do that. They're not going to lock everything back down.
They've learned from that.
They will go as far as a mask mandate and just try to get everybody vaccinated. And the FDA is trying to get it approved because that's a reason, too, why a lot of people are not getting vaccinated, because they're saying it's not FDA approved. Yeah. I don't know which vaccine is FDA approved or whatever.
I don't think any of them. I think they're all under the emergency status.
Yeah, so
and it's going to be September before any of them start being like regularly approved.
And then somebody was all like, "Well, they are approved," and like you said, the emergency status is like we see one headline, we run with it, and then we don't look at the whole facts. Or when the scientists are trying to tell the whole facts, you have whatever Fox or CNN just tell half of the truth. And then they're still blaming Trump or whatever. And
or they'll pick this one sensational part and really blow it out of proportion to where you're like, that's not even the part of the story.
Or they'll somehow rope Trump into it, and I'm like, look, guys, Trumpy's in Florida. Yeah.
He can't even be on Twitter anymore. Why are we still talking about him?
We can't talk about him no more. We gotta move on. It's like it's a bad ex, and you don't want to get over it.
Yeah, I know.
Get over it.
Well, because he brought so much money to the media.
He brought so much money. He brought a bunch of views. He unleashed hate gate. I call it hate gate.
Yeah,
where all the hate just came through. I was like, he opened Pandora's box and just exposed a bunch of stuff. But I was like, that was just one person, and you can't blame that one guy for individuals' actions.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, he did that whole Capitol riot thing. He told these people go do it. Like, let's be clear, he told people go do it, but he did not hold these people by the hand or handcuff them and physically brought them out there. They hopped on a plane and they went there.
Yeah, and they made all those decisions afterwards too.
They did that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, if you want to listen to this guy, fine, but your decisions are your decisions.
Yeah, you have to own them.
Yeah,
you know, whether they're big or little. Yeah.
It's just weird how people are just doing this. How dare you do this? There's a lot of blaming, a lot of cancel culture. It's like, I remember somebody was all like, Deijhon, are you ever afraid you're going to get canceled for saying something weird? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And I was like, because it's all fake.
Yeah.
I like, Twitter doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I was like, it's all fake. I was all like, whenever you see a celebrity get canceled, it's like, if you're in that world, you know the rules. Yeah. But I'm not a celebrity, so I have no rules.
Yeah. You're just a normal guy.
But if I do become a celebrity, I'm going to make sure and stamp it like Bill Burr did. And it's like, I'm going to say whatever I want. Yeah. Like, Bill Burr had this funny joke saying moms are not the toughest jobs in the world. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? He was all like, y'all saw that movie Deepwater Horizon with Mark Wahlberg? And they had to jump out of an oil rig that was on fire and flaming water. But you want to tell me that a lady who has to milk their baby at midnight, that's a harder job than that? And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was like, that's fair.
And I don't deal with fire.
And everybody was all like, oh, he's going to get canceled. He didn't get canceled. Because he made it right out the bat. Like, I'm going to say whatever I want. And y'all not going to cancel me.
Well, I like him anyway.
It's like it's like he says whatever he wants. Now, if he just says some really outlandish stuff, then it's kind of like, hey, dude, what you doing? But people just got to if it's your decision, it's your decision. Yeah. And you can't blame other people or a dude that has the same shade as Cheeto dust with a floppy toupee for your decisions. And you can't blame the president we have now because he was only in office for 6 months?
Yeah.
It's like, what you want him to do?
Yeah.
Somebody still need to wake him up and tell him that he's president.
Yeah.
It's like, he's still sleeping. We need to figure this out.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. I'm not right or left.
Yeah.
I'm just all like, self-govern yourself. If you want to rely on the government, that's fine. But if you want to do stuff on your own, that's fine too.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting nobody, everything's fine.
I like your approach of everybody's right and everybody's wrong. I think for me that applies with politics too.
It does, because it's the rarest occasion ever. I've never, ever been in a situation where it's like I'm wrong and right at the same time. Mm-hmm. Usually I'm always right because when I argue, I say straight facts. Mm-hmm. But all the facts that I'm saying too can be countered with even more facts. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like I can be right in saying this many people died from the flu, but I can also be wrong in saying, well, this many people died of COVID.
Yeah.
And it's like I could say, well, 10 people died from the flu, and then somebody could say, well, 5 people died from COVID. Yeah, but 10 people died from the flu, and they're going to be like, well, at the end of the day, 5 people died from this. And it's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
5
right.
people still died.
5 people still died.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody can be wrong and everybody can be right. It's the rarest thing in the world.
Yeah, and and I think that's, our brains don't like that. So our brains try to fill in with a story. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think people buy into some of the stuff that doesn't make sense in the light of day, but, I can see where people go down the rabbit holes and are like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, I'll believe that.
You just got to be more open-minded on everything. So, when I saw some of the vendors put on masks and I didn't put on a mask, and they were like, why are you not putting on a mask? It's like, I've been vaccinated, I've been this, I don't like wearing the mask because it makes me feel claustrophobic, and I have sports-induced asthma, so I can't breathe with the mask on, and it's hard for me to breathe now.
You can't hear me for the podcast if I'm recording if I have a mask on.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
I've been vaccinated. So I keep 6 feet away from people.
Yeah, so it's like I did my job. I did my job. If I get it, these people, they can all go get the shot now. Everybody's at risk. Now I'm wrong for saying that, but I'm also right for saying that too. Because it's like I did my part.
Yes, I waited, and I even waited the weeks after the shot until you're vaccinated. Until that. What is it like? Well, I got the 2.
I got the 2-parter. That lady,
so
that lady told me you're gonna feel like crap, and I was all like, bet. Took it, got home, I felt great.
Yeah, I felt fine.
The second shot, the lady was all like, okay, this one you should be all right, and I was all like, I was all right with the first one, and the lady was like, really? And I was like, yeah. Gave me that shot. Next day, I was sick.
Yeah.
And I was all like, whoa, this is not nothing to play with, but this is just a fake version.
Yeah, that's the version you can handle.
Yeah, so it turns out that I was asymptomatic. And so it was like, I didn't really get hit, but that fake one will hit you. And it's all like, oh, this is like, yeah, dude, go get your shot. I don't want nobody feeling this.
No, and it gets so bad so quick. Hey, let me ask you, have you used these before?
Yes, square readers?
Yeah.
I have one.
Do you have this one or do you have the other one?
I have that one.
Okay, so you recommend this one?
Yep.
Okay, because I just went to Walmart and got both, and I was just going to ask you, but
You can use both. So what she's saying is she's using the square contactless reader. Mm-hmm. And that's the one where you can put your credit card up to the thing and it can scan it, or your phone up to the thing and scan it, or you can just plug in the chip. Every card has chips now. There was one time somebody gave me a card that did not have a chip. And I was all like, well, you're weird, and your bank is behind.
Yeah.
And so, but everybody has a chip now, so those are great.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But you can use the swipe one too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use this one.
I suggest have that, and then also have the swipe one. And if you have an iPad, I don't know, everybody uses their phone, but if you have an iPad, put the swipe one in the iPad.
Yeah.
And just connect the other one too, so that if you're doing multiple sales, you can swipe, and then other people can plug in that one and do multiple sales at once.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, because I'm where I'm at now. I had asked Sherry to keep that spot, and she said that was fine. The spot that I'm at the end of the row. But I'm so far from her that if people want to use credit card, I normally would just walk them down and get the Marigold money. But that's just too far now.
Yeah, you get every vendor should have some type of card reader.
And that's what I was thinking. It also shows that it's a legitimate thing. And it was at Walmart for $40.
Yeah, it's cheap. I bought mine on Amazon. It's a cheat. I know everybody hates Amazon right now.
I don't hate Amazon. I use it.
Still gonna use it.
I just got my typewriter on Amazon.
There you go. Still gonna use it.
Did I show you that? The typewriting for TikTok? Because I hate TikTok, so I was trying to make it fun, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try typewriting. And so I'm going to write parts of the episode and, write them out as I talk and then have music playing. I mean, it worked. The first one I did, I enjoyed it, and the music seemed to match the typewriting.
I can't do all that social media stuff.
I hate doing it. That's why I try to, because I hate creating the stuff.
Somebody tried to show me how to do a TikTok, and I was all like, so this is how you spend your day.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. So, my friends that are content creators, so one of my friends, my friend Amy Fleury, she was like, you're not a content creator. You create documentation for people to listen to. And I was like, I want to roll with that. Yeah. My friends that are actual content creators, they went to the Logan Paul Mayweather thing, and they had to pay to get access to film them and stuff. And they were trying to send me clips saying, how do you think of this clip? And I was all like, I hate you guys.
Yeah.
I was all like, this is so stupid. Like, Showtime is showing this professionally.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this on Showtime and not your crappy iPhone that you got from some dude in a mall.
Yeah.
And they was all like, we're just trying to get content. I was like, you're not competing with Showtime.
Yeah.
They have cameras that are worth more than all of us.
Yeah.
It's like, no. So I just thought it was weird. And they was like, well, Logan Paul is, I was like, they was like, Logan Paul is a content creator. And I was like, yeah. But guess what? He didn't film any of the stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what he did? He came out with a merch line that sold out that night because he was the one fighting because it was his thing.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are just trying to jump on his bandwagon. It's like, and now you got these other YouTubers trying to fight. And I'm like, you guys are going to get a real, like a realization that everybody can't fight.
Well, and that's why the whole content creation field or area gives me a headache. I'm rubbing my head right now because it just
it's fun because everybody can do it, but now people are starting to see like, well, YouTube and Apple and all these other places and Patreon are starting to see like, well, these people are making millions of dollars off of putting this stuff up for free on our thing, so we want to cut back because we're offering the bandwidth for you to show off all your stuff, which is fair. It's completely fair.
Yeah, that is.
And now you got a lot of content creators who are trying to do content, but they're not realizing, like, you're going to have to put in, like, as much as a business puts in. Because you got to have a good camera. You got to have good editing software. If you don't know how to do it, you're going to have to hire a producer. You got to be an on-air personality if you're going to do YouTube stuff. Yeah. That's why I was like, I like doing the podcast because, one, I can do all this stuff on my own. And two, if it ever comes to the day that they say you're going to have to pay to listen to a podcast, then I'll say I'm out a podcast. Yeah. And you can find my stuff on my own website. Yeah. And you can just go to my website and listen to it. And I'm not going to charge you anything.
Yeah, because you shouldn't. There's a certain amount of access. That's why I like podcasting because it's still an area where everyone has equal access.
Now they're smart. All of them are smart with saying like, we're still going to offer these for free, but if those content creators, if you feel like you have a following that will pay for your thing, here's this lane for you. But for the people that are all like, I don't have a following, I just want to do something and put it on the platform, here's your thing. Yeah. So, but I think people are now realizing, like I have one friend, he wants to do Twitch stuff, and I was all like, dude, we're going to have to like outfit your whole entire space because if you got this other dude who looks like he's in this professional setting, you can't just be out of your house no more. Yeah. And he was all like, well, I don't want to pay for all that stuff. And it's like, well, that's what you're going to have to do if you want to make money off of Twitch now. Yeah. And they was all like, well, you ain't got to pay for stuff. And I was all like, well, it is audio. All I'm paying for is the audio equipment.
See, I'm doing multi-platform, so I'm looking for my phone to show you a picture. So, yeah, I had to outfit my space to do just the TikTok videos and stuff. So I have two whole sections in my office that just don't get sat in except for social media stuff because they have that like glossy look on them, you know. So
I remember people asking me like, why do you have a podcast studio then? Why don't you just do it out of your house? And it's like, well, one, if I have guests come on, don't want them coming to my house because they might be crazy. Yeah. Two, my office space also doubles as my farm's office space too, where I keep all my farm files there. So that's why I have
Where's your office space?
I'm not going to tell you guys.
Well, oh no, but I mean, you just rent an office space in
So
town.
I rent a room in town.
Okay.
I do the podcast out of it, and then like my farm stuff, like any end of the year farm paperwork is done out of that room, so I don't have to bring any of it home.
That makes sense.
So when people say like, why do you have a podcast studio? Nobody's seeing it. And it's like, one, the room is built so that the sound is fine. Mm-hmm. And two, the room is built for if anybody comes up in there, it's a nice setting where they'll be relaxed. There's a mini fridge because I got it years ago and I can finally use it. Mm-hmm. I keep drinks in there. I got alcohol in there too, just in case somebody having a bad day and they need to take a drink. It's like, it's fitted for a podcast. For me to do it by myself, or if I bring somebody in there, everybody will be fine and they'll feel safe and it's nice and air conditioned and it's just cool. Yeah. Because if I did it out my house, I don't want nobody sitting up in my kitchen having to do a podcast.
See, that's why I don't do it at my house. That's why I picked Pittard Park, because I figured,
But I would say if you are doing a solo just on your own, or if you're doing one with the co-host and you don't want to do it out of your house, people are now using Zoom because you can save the Zoom audio file, and they're just Zooming with each other.
Yeah.
And they will put the Zoom up on their YouTube links or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So,
because one lady was like, hey, instead of bringing people to your studio, why don't you just Zoom them? And it's like, well, if I Zoom them, I don't want them seeing all up in my house either. Yeah. And one Zoom, if I don't know the person, our social cues are going to be so off. Yeah. So, like, if I do a Zoom with, like, Sherry, she knows when I'm going to stop talking or when I'm rambling, and she knows when to come in. Mm-hmm. And if when she's talking, I know when she's going to stop. Yeah. So, it's kind of like, I would have to do it if it's a guest that's from Texas, and it's going to be tough. But if it's a guest that's in town, I'm telling them, come to the studio, we'll sit here. I can pick up when you're going to stop talking, when you're going to keep talking. And it's just a smoother ride.
That's smart, yeah.
So, but I know a lot of people was all like, why do you have a podcast studio? And it's like, well, originally it was for this reason, but now it's like I had to change it and be like, no, it's this reason.
I think it's smart.
This is a better reason.
It's smart. I mean, so in my basement, I have a whole room that's like, it's basically the size of a bedroom. So, I mean, I've taken a whole space in our house. It's probably 600-700 square feet.
And you can just use that.
I use that.
Mine is only 100 square feet, so you're good.
Yeah, well, because I also have, like, my social media setups. Mm-hmm. So, like, I have my desk that I don't actually use that's just for social media. And then I have a table right in front of it that holds the cameras and stuff. And then I have the other studio space behind it. Because, like, I try to maximize the space.
Yeah, end this off because it's getting late now.
Oh, yeah, we should, yeah.
But end this off. My only advice to any podcaster or whatever, I'm not a podcasting pro or anything. Yeah. But my only advice to them, I remember Joe Rogan used to say, like, just keep doing it. Put out a lot of content. Just do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I disagree with that now because everybody's doing that. I feel like if you're going to do a podcast, find a niche like you're doing. Yeah. Find a niche that you're really good at and do that and make sure it sounds professionally. Yep. Make sure that everything comes out clear because that audio, you're going to be in people's heads. Yeah. So they need to make sure, like, I can deal with you being in my head. Yeah. Because there was one podcast, my mini fridge went off and you heard that bzzz noise. And I didn't realize it. Then when I uploaded it, my friend from Texas, he was like, hey, man, there's a buzzing noise in your thing and I can't really get through the episode. And so I had to take that episode off, record it again, put it up, unplug the mini fridge. Just to make sure that...
I've had that too. I had a fan come on.
Yeah, just like make sure everything is smooth when it's coming out. But that's my only advice. Like, nowadays I would just say find a niche and build off of that niche. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing it for a business, really sit down and think about it because nobody's going to help you.
Yeah, no.
Like, nobody's going to help you. You're on your own. Sit down and really think about how do I want to make money off of this? Is this from... applying to all these different sponsors? Is it like pitching my podcast to a podcast company or whatever? Like really think about how you want to do it because it's changing to the point now of I got one friend that does a podcast and he got picked up by a company and the company told him, okay, we're going to put you on YouTube. And he was all like, I don't want to be on YouTube. And they was all like, well, we just bought your podcast and you're going to be the host. You're going to be on YouTube. Yeah. And they got him a studio space and like he's up in the space and he has a producer and now he has to just talk.
Oh, that would be so great.
And he was all like, I wasn't planning on this. But the only thing is he has no like he has creative control, but like not the creative control that he really thought he wanted.
Yeah.
'Cause he really
that
doesn't
would be difficult.
So his first few episodes, he was skittish because he was like, "There's a camera on me. There's like this guy in here. Got this guy."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if you want to take that route, go for it. Pitch your podcast to a production company, and if they pick it up, go and run with it.
Yeah.
But if you want to be somebody that's like, I just want all my stuff on my own, then really sit out and think about, okay, I need a niche because I'm not going to have somebody back me and do all these backroom deals. And I really need to know, like, hey, when I pitch myself to these people, what am I going to say? How do I talk to Liquid Death or whatever, that company? Like, you need to figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
So
that's smart. Yeah. Well, and I found there's some online things that, like, they'll help you with that stuff, but they charge you an arm and a leg for it.
yeah, because they realize that, like, people,
Yeah, there's no one to do it.
Yeah, they realize, like, oh, these people are not finna call up. I'm trying to think of I'm just gonna say Liquid Death. I keep saying Liquid Death because that was the last one I heard.
Yeah.
But it's like these companies know, like, these people don't know how to call up Liquid Death and say, like, hey, let me be a sponsor on your podcast or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of these big podcasters, they have teams. So that Brendan Schaub guy, him and one other guy did Fighter and the Kid, and they were in a closet room with one desk. And then they built it up to now he's in this big studio space with multiple rooms.
Wow.
He does multiple podcasts. Like, he's a full-on podcaster / comedian now. But he has a whole media team. Like, somebody that does social media, make sure somebody has the live stream, make sure somebody does the graphics. He has a whole team of people making sure that the content comes out is nice, clear, and correct.
Yeah, because that's the problem I have is, trying to be on brand. And then I'm like, well, what is the brand? Like, I have to sometimes just stop and think, all right, well, what is my brand?
Now, also, too, it took him 10 years to do this.
Yeah,
so everybody's probably going to be thinking, like, oh, it took him like a couple months. It took him 10 years.
Yeah.
A lot of 10 years. And his one joke is be like, man, it took me 10 years.
I like it.
So it's like, I'm just looking like, it took me selling a lot of produce.
Yeah.
And talking about produce to get to wherever point I'm going to get to.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
yeah, well, we'll end it there. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, thank you, sir.